CMC, for the people, by the people, and to the people. Citizens movement for change. Oh yes, a new day has come. Yes, a new day has come. Rise up Liberia. CMC, for the people. CMC, by the people. Let us join our hands together to build a better Liberia. CMC, CMC, for the people. CMC, by the people. Let us join our hands together to build a better Liberia. Equity, national unity, transparency, accountability, social justice, integrity, CMC core values. CMC Global. It is a new day for Liberia. It is a new day for the people. Let's hold together. Let's hold together. Peace and unity. Raise up your hands. CMC. The land of liberty, the land of freedom, the love of liberty brought us together. Let's hold together in peace and unity to build a better Liberia. CMC, CMC, for the people. CMC, yes, by the people. Let's hold together in peace and unity to build a better Liberia. CMC, CMC, yes, for the people. CMC, yes, by the people. Let's hold together in peace and unity to build a better Liberia. CMC, yes, 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 the time has come.
Hello. Welcome. I didn't know I was on, but hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is the CMC Corner, the Insights. It's very nice of you to join us here. Thank you very much. We look forward to another interactive day. Uh, hope you're feeling well at your end. Um, Today is a little sunny on my side. Uh, the weather is getting much better. I hope it is at your end. So I'm waiting for my colleagues here to come and join us, but we have a number of things to talk about. Looks like we'll be talking about the Liberia traffic management and its uh, tussle over who who has the rights to I guess issue license plates and driver licenses and do vehicle inspection in Liberia. That fight is on. I believe it is now the Supreme Court, and I think the Supreme Court has issued a stay order until Friday, so that the contending parties, this is the Liberia Traffic Management and the MDMC of John Yoboi. So looks like they're gonna hold a conference to decide, who is actually, um, legally right to do vehicle inspection, issue license plates, issue driver's license. So we'll see how that plays out. But when the fellows come in, we'll talk about that in detail. Again, looks like we'll also look at another rape case in Grand Bassa County. Apparently, the Liberian National Police is already doing their preliminary investigation. This time, it looks like this involves a police officer and that a citizen of Grand Bassa, so we'll look at that. And then I believe we will also be discussing what the CMC is doing. We'll talk about the recent trip in bombing, a little bit more detail on that. Mr. Toby is expected to be here with me, along with Mr. Jala, Jacob Jala, and Mr. Cooper, Winston Cooper. So thanks for joining us. Hang around, and while they get ready, I see Mr. Toby is in the back. And thanks to Ansu and Henry for coming in to sit in the studios and help us produce. Henry, have you guys taken calls yet? Did you do the current events? Did you summarize the day's events already? Hey, Mr. Toby.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, big man? How are you?
Yeah, good to see you. How are you?
Yeah, same here, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Okay.
So welcome. So far as you and I who are here, I know Henry's in the back. Um, I was
Yeah,
running, I was running a little late today, so I wasn't following. I don't know if they've already done the news summary for the day.
yeah, they're
And
done because this time of the evening we should be into the showdown. So I'm sure.
okay,
But along the way, I'm sure they'll be taking calls from the main studio,
okay, cool.
whatever way it is. But it's good to be back here.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah, how you uh, giving the premise of our conversation tonight?
Right.
Uh, Let me again say welcome to the folks following us via radio on Truth FM and those of our friends there in Bond County and the team in Secretary. Also relaying us tonight. Like you rightly said, we expect Jacob to be here and of course Wisdom to join us. But there's a whole lot happening in country. A lot of different things seem to be going on. Every day there's another development. If it is not happening in some of the counties directly, it is happening on the national level. And as we assemble every Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, we hope to bring some of the trending conversation to our viewers and listeners via radio. There's a whole lot going on with issues surrounding the audit from the Liberian Senate, and then on to the traffic management and that of the Ministry of Transport. It seems to be the court of Liberia has become very busy. If they haven't been busy in many years, I'm sure this time around there are too many court issues. If it is not about legitimate sale of land, it is either the government against alleged criminals, or it is the court breaking down the verdict from criminal court A, and then people that are taking appeal to the Supreme Court. So it's a whole lot of issues involving court matter. That has been a very serious observation. So people are running to the law and, trying to get redress on some of their own issue. And so it's becoming very interesting along the way as those issues unfold daily in the country. So I know we'll be talking about that. There's been a very strong statement today from the political leader of the Citizens Movement for Change, Mr. Musa Hassan Belete. He's written a very compact piece stating where we are as a country and what are some of the issues as to the matter with the withdrawal of a subpoena from the court by the Ministry of Justice in an audit conducted by the General Auditing Commission. And there's an interplay now. It's raising eyebrows. So we're looking at some of those conversations tonight. I heard you talk about the rape case in Grand Bassa. It's under the spotlight. And there's the lady who killed her grandchildren was finally sent to jail today in Sanikole following the police investigation. She was turned over now, so she's in the Sanikole Central Prison. And there's a whole lot. So I know we can run through them while we await the arrival of the rest of the team members coming on our set tonight. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Sounds good.
So, just to get your take on the, let's start on the, I don't want to say it on the soft note, but again, it is a very serious situation. And I want us to start tonight on this conversation coming from Grand Bassa County while we await the rest of the guys to join us. So the Liberia National Police today confirmed that it is investigating an allegation of attempted rape involving an officer assigned to Grand Bassa Police Detachment. I'm sure they say his name is Alex. And what we've been following, there seemed to be a lot of public outcry about the gentleman in question. We are now being informed via social media and other outlets that the alleged rapist has been around the police in Bassa for a good time now, and there have been several allegations leveled against him in time past. But those allegations weren't taken serious. At a certain point in time, it was being compromised by family members. It was trashed. And there's been a whole lot of different stories surrounding the alleged rapist from Grand Bassa County. But again, like the police have said, they have started an investigation. Remember, there's a new police commander in Grand Bassa, Fasu, who was assigned in Bond County, has been transferred as the new police boss. This seemed to be his first major task since his reassignment into Grand Bassa. But on the overall, hearing such of news and looking at the situation surrounding rape in our country, to have those who's supposed to be protecting our laws, who's supposed to be the people that people will run to for rescue in terms of policing, if they are now being caught again, people will say, oh yes, they are all human. But if a law enforcement officer who should be protecting the rights of others is now being caught in a less situation, this seems to be alarming. Let me allow you have your few opening comments on this first talking point. We'll proceed with further questions about this.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Tubi. I think this is becoming very alarming. I know you talk about, the reported involvement of an officer of the law in Bassa. I think some months ago, there was also reported involvement of, I believe, a magistrate or someone of also the law involved in Nimba. But I was just looking at, doing a quick Google, and again, I'm just going by what is being reported here. It could be wrong, it could be right, but a quick search is returning an estimated 2,759 rape cases between 2024 and now. Um, that's alarming. And why this is becoming so prevalent, and why there seems to be no serious attempt to stop it, I don't know. But I think the response that we're getting to it is what is actually not deterring people from doing this. Because if you did, and the law took its course, I believe that it's unlikely, you may do it again, or someone may come out to try and copy. But it looks like, because when these things happen, most of these people um, get a slap on the wrist, and so then will be perpetrators looking at it, and they're saying, "Oh well, I could probably try this, and nothing much is going to happen." Yeah, but it has been reported that 2,759 rape cases have been reported by the Ministry of Gender, Youth, and Youth Services, and about 68 to 69% occur in Montserrat County alone, the seat of government. As an estimated 1,900 rape cases occurring in Montserrat County. you know so I believe the responsible authority, whether it is the Ministry of Gender reporting these cases, whether it is the courts dealing with these cases, I think we need to escalate the response that these cases are getting, because it looks like there's not enough deterrent to to deter would-be perpetrators. I think if people see stern measures have been taken against rapists, gender-based violence, I think the people would think twice. But it looks like right now, there isn't any reason for anybody to be afraid, because these are 2,759, almost 2,600 cases. I mean, 2,700, almost 2,800 cases between 2024 and now. That's alarming. So this is concerning. I guess we'll wait for the report, but we know there are other cases that are lingering and languishing that haven't been dealt with. They're on the docket. And then sometime when they do, the return is so baffling. Most of these people of means, people in authority, always get a clearance. After so much delay and so-called investigation, they get cleared. I don't know if you are aware of any high profile or any of these rape cases where somebody was always sent to jail, Mr. Toby. I'm not aware of any.
And I know for sure, there have been cases where people have gone to jail, but again, like you read, this high profile individuals. Just a few months ago, we were talking about a government official. He got cleared by the Liberia National Police.
That's right.
Based on their investigation. But there have been several rape cases. There has been this rigorous involvement of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and aware of several safe homes that existed before. I cannot speak to the status of those safe homes because it's been something supervised and it's under the watch of the Ministry of Gender. It is almost like a counseling home for victims. But equally so, there have been a lot of cases that have equally been compromised, by family members. So it depends at, what location a rape case is being reported. If it is happening in the interior of the country, sometimes the family will hold on to that. people are still afraid to report rape cases.
Right.
And I know this is something government of yesterday, government of today will still struggle with. But when it is being reported, uh, we hear about it, and sometimes that's where it ends. It is difficult for people to follow these cases to see how the final judgment comes about. Now we're hearing about the police officers in Grand Bassa. The police are still investigating whether he is the doer of the act or not. But that investigation will come, and then what the findings will speak will come to the public. If not to the public, but it's going to be another rape case, like we have heard about several other rape cases. I heard you read the statistics, reported by the Ministry of Gender. That is alarming. And on our book, rape is a non-bailable offense. So to just hear about it and it just turned to be a conversation on the radio, in the public space, and the perpetrators at times will escape the judicial system. People compromise with cases. So we are watching again to see how the Liberia National Police, under the stewardship of Police Inspector General Gregory Como, who's been doing some very good job within the Liberia National Police, to see how they will go about, making sure the investigation is carried out without bias. And if the accused alleged individual who is said to be an officer, if he is attached to the crime, let's see what the police will say about it. What are they going to say to court immediately if he's going to get this rope from the Liberia National Police? Something we've seen the police do in time past. They've disrobed officers from their professional standard division who's been involved in some, unwanted behavior. We've heard about that. We've seen them send out press releases in those directions. But again, like we rightly said, it is a huge tax. It should not be a lip service kind of conversation. The police need to go beyond just we are investigating. They should put some speed to that investigation so that the public can continue to have confidence, because it is a confident issue. When people start to lost trust in the ability of the Liberian National Police, as the source of protection, then of course they begin to take laws into their own hands. A few years back, we were experiencing violence from community dwellers. People were burning down police stations because of the way the police were responding. There was several mob violence against police officers in the country, a sign in the interior of the country. People burned down police stations because the way the police were handling some of the cases, people felt offended. So we wouldn't want to return to those days. So we hope that the Liberian National Police will tighten, its belt to make sure the alleged police officer can have a free and fair investigation, and so the public can get informed about the outcome and see what the police does in that direction. You want to say something to that?
No, I just wanted to agree with you. I think much work needs to be done by the police to restore confidence on this issue. I think so much has happened, and I think right now the trust deficit is becoming increasing uh, for the police. I think people are beginning to wonder how seriously they take these cases. So I agree with you. I think they need to, first of all, they need to be they need to be transparent in their investigation of this matter. They also need to move with deliberate speed. They shouldn't drag their feet on this matter. The cases are becoming alarming, as we've indicated. Why I'm at it, let me welcome a few people who've joined us here, especially Mr. James Star David. He's our vice chair for the new chapter recently erected in Nigeria. Mr. David, it's nice of you to join us. Thanks for joining us. I also like to welcome Mr. Samuel G. Myers. Samuel is following us from district number 12. He didn't say whether it is in Maserado or Nimba or Bong or Basso or Margibi. But Mr. Myers, thanks for joining us. Sky Mofatuma Sharif. I hope I said that name right. Thanks for joining us as well. We're very happy that you're here with us. So, yeah, coming back to the issue, I think right now a lot of people are watching to see how these cases are being handled, and people are beginning to really um, uh, kind of solidify, crystallize the perception that the police and the law enforcement are not doing enough about these cases, and this is why people are becoming emboldened. People don't have any second thought about these kind of matters because they see others do it, and they seem to get away with impunity. And so we're calling on our police. Please, this is gender-based violence. This is it's a serious matter. Our female, you know, citizens deserve just as much protection as the male part. So we urge you to please do the best again. Let me welcome C. Ayeri Williams. Ayeri is following. Thanks for joining us. So, Mr. Tobio, you must be busy in the back, but yeah, I think I've had my say. I don't know if we want to take a few calls on that, or I mean, you are running the show, so
No,
but I
sure.
yes,
We can move on. Last night we attempted talking a little bit about the CMC political leader, Honorable Musa Hassan Belete, recent acquaintance activities across uh, Tottenham, Bombing County to be precise.
right.
And it will interest you to note that that acquaintance um, visit uh, brought another spotlight to the way Liberia, the Liberians out there, thinks about the governance of our country. There's been a lot of different conversation about leaders in our country and the dynamics of the politics being introduced by the CMC seem to be catching rural dwellers because to go to a county that you haven't visited and get welcome in the way the CMC when they welcome into Bombing County, it means that the message of the CMC have started to resonate with the people in parts of Liberia. Remember, the CMC leader have just returned from the southeast, and his second leg of that tour took him to Bombing County, a very interesting county, a county that have had as many leaders in our country highest office. Remember, Bombing County is very strategic, but it is, if not the poorest county in Liberia, then I need to find which of the county is as poor as Bombing in terms of everything, infrastructure, agriculture, food, road, everything seemed to be lacking in Bombing County. Even the driveway from Douala into Tottenberg has now turned to be very messy. I'm sure you drive from Banga to Salaye on a good road as you drive from Douala to Tottenberg. So that alone tells you how that county is. It is just few hours drive from Moserado. They've produced president. They've produced speakers, not just speaker. They produce I think 2 speakers from Bomi now. They produced a president, Madam Salif, has a farm in Jedijua. Speaker Tyler Hills from Bomi. Speaker Hills, sometime back, also came from Bomi. The current president, I'm told his wife is from Bomi, Katomo Boakai. She comes from Bomi. The president currently has a farm in Bomi, but the road to Bomi is so deplorable. You cannot drive 5 miles per hour on the Bomi road. It tells you how deplorable that road is. And I don't know for whatever the reason that the people of Bomi County has been treated the way they've been treated with their portion of the resources, of that country. The Western belt, all you see in Bomi right now are big holes. I think that's why some people have to call it Bomi hole, because you found a lot of ditches instead of. So people take away the resources from the county, and there's nothing there to show. And the tour of stability, in all of the district headquarters of Bomi, gave us a very clear understanding how people have been deserted by the leaders. They got representatives of all of the districts in Bomi, but people that stay drinking from creeks, people that stay not having access to roads. Even in the Bomi County that is close door, call connection, mobile phone connection is terrible bad, very, very bad. To call around Bomi County is like is somewhere far. I think the counties in the southeast are far better in terms of call mobile connection as compared to Bomi County. Whatever the reason, when you travel to those counties, you understand the difficulties people are experiencing, and they are complaining. One county that we visited, that even the chiefs, the elders, the commissioners were very happy to risk their job because they attended all of the gathering, whether they are government officials, and I was a little bit jittery and asking, I said, but other places we've gone, we've seen commissioners, town chiefs, shy away from coming around the CMC because of the scare that, the authority will take action. But if you ask the people of Bomi, the chiefs, the commissioners, the people who work for government there, they care for him. They come with pride and say, we've gone through a lot. If I were coming to join or to speak to Mr. Ability will make somebody to say they want to take the job, so let them take the job. So the commissioners, the chiefs, the elders, they came out in the numbers. It was very, 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 very impressive. From Jenny to Clay to third member to Bajeke to Mahatown and then on to Malima to all of the district headquarters that we visited ended up in the Swameka district. It was an eye-opener. And with all of the promises made by Honorable Mobility, with breach, women empowerment, market women empowerment, youth empowerment, and a whole lot of different things. I'm sure people are now beginning to see a different trend of the politics we've had in Liberia, waiting for a political party to come a year to election and then make big promises. Like you've said, all of the political actors in our country have, gone to those places. They've asked for the vote of the people. They turned the back on the people. But his start of politics is he's going in as early as it is, making promises, making intervention. And he said, we will do what we said between now and 2029. And we'll come back here to ask you to give us the method of authority. You will be owning us now. And because people that have come, they've passed away, they've said a lot to you, and they failed you. They come back the next time, they put the pictures on your homes, and they gave you T-shirts. That's all you benefit at the end of the day. And we think the CMC is thinking about changing that dynamics. And I think it was a wonderful experience uh, with the political leader in bombing, and we're looking forward to our next trip to other parts of the country. But I think the acquaintance seem to be going well across Liberia. You've been watching the photos coming in, the conversation, you follow the video. Maybe you got something you want to ask or you want to add up to Mr. Amendment.
Yes,
Yeah.
I really do. And let me give you the perspective of those of us who were not on the trip, but what we could see. We saw a very rejuvenated, Bomi County. As you indicated, Bomi County has seen its share of government officials and companies come and promise. I mean, and I don't want to, I don't want to date you, say how old you are, but when we were growing up, you have LMC, Liberia Mining Company, operating in there. You also have the Liberia Iron Ore Company, NOIC. All these companies operated out of there, and yet, just like you said, um, the people over there, they are wretched, they are poor, and only because their government has never represented their interests. Governments over the years, and so I can understand people being circumspect, and this is why some of us quickly signed on to the CMC when we observed what the CMC political leader and the CMC were doing, and then we're going to our people now and telling them, look, we're not going to come here and make any promises to you. We're making these tours, these listening tours, and by this, we're in a way writing a contract with you. This is going to be our contract with Liberia. We come to you, we sit with you, you tell us where you need help most. We tell you what we can do for you, and we're going to make sure to get it done before 2029. We're not going to ask you, okay, we hear what you say. I think one of the guys said, CID, consider it done. That's what they're used to. They hear the CID all the time, but nothing really gets done. And so I listened to the PLE was a little bit, he didn't know what it was. I myself, I used consider it done all the time, but I never really used the acronym. And so one of the gentlemen there said, all the time people come here, they tell us, CID, consider it done. But nothing happened. So you're right. And then besides the companies, you've also had a considerable amount of representation at the highest levels in government from bombing, just as you indicated, Speaker Tyler. I think it was what is Speaker Hill first name? Is it Henry? I forgot his first name, but he was the speaker under the President Samuel Kanyando. Speaker Samuel D. Hill. Samuel D. Hill was the speaker. He came from bombing, and as you rightly stated, Speaker Tyler, I think from bombing. President Johnson has roots in bombing. Senator Snow has roots in bombing, if I'm not mistaken. So a number of high profile individuals have also represented bombing, and yet the country remains deprived, bereft, people live in abject poverty. And so we saw the people, I think the enthusiasm, the appreciation that they were pouring out for what the CMC, because they've seen what the CMC has already started doing in other parts of the country. They've seen what the CMC is doing in Nimba, what the CMC is doing in Bong, the Jaw River Bridge and other parts, other development projects are ongoing in Bong. We were in Lofa. I think they saw what we did in Kwanoboni in Lofa. We were in Cape Mount. They saw what we were attempted doing, and we were stopped. They saw what we promised to do in Margibi. We were in the southeast. They saw, the conversation, the dialogue between the people of Grand Judah and River G with the CMC. And so they're taking notice. And so when these people hear that the CMC is coming this way, they're not just coming, to say hello, and then drink a few, a few bottles of palm wine, whatever. They're coming with their problems, where it hurts them most. And these people, I heard the people, almost every strata of Burmese society was putting forth, their appeals to the CMC and the PL. The young people, they wanted to do trade school, and the PL told them, look, trade will limit you. What we can do is we can let you go on to university and broaden your horizon. And I think they bought that. So the young people came with the appeal. The market women came with the appeal. He promised, to help them with a loan scheme to kind of increase, empower them in the market. You know, the Christians needed, they came with the appeal. The Muslims came with the appeal. So various sectors of the society. And so we saw the presentation, and we're just excited that we have the opportunity and the capacity, to bring relief to our people. And we appreciate what the CMC is doing, and the PR, and through the Ability Foundation. We'll continue to pray for God to continue to bless this foundation to give us the capacity to deliver for our people. And what we are telling them is, look, this is what you deserve. This is what you deserve. We're just giving you a little taste of what actually rightfully belongs to you. This is what your government is supposed to do for you. You're supposed to have roads. You should be able to bring your produce to the market. When you farm your plantain, your edibles, your cassava, whatever it is, you should be able to bring those things to the market. And to do that, you have to have roads. So we're trying to connect with you. So most of the time, that's what people want. They want a road here. They want a bridge here. We saw the bridge project over the Mahi River in Commander Township, I believe it was. These people, for over 20 years or more, they've had no road. Almost everywhere is the same problem. So yeah, we saw you guys. We followed you. We appreciate what you did. Like I'm saying, we'll continue to pray for the CMC to be blessed, to be able to deliver for our people. And then based on that, we'll bet on what we're doing now to put us into the White House, into the executive mansion. And our people will see what the CMC is able to do when we get into the executive mansion, where we'll be in charge of, apportioning the national pie, our national resources. I've heard the PR float a number of ideas. Look, Liberia is a small country. What, 15 counties? Even if you put $1 million in a budget for each county, $2 million for each county, that's just $30 million. $30 million is almost is 1/3 of the money we're spending to build a project in 4 years. Or even if you took the $10 million we're spending for you, and divide it among people, at least each county is going to get at least 750,000 or a little around it. There is a lot that can be done if we plan properly and expand our resources judiciously. This is the argument we're making. And so we're betting on what we're doing now, that our people will remember us and they will continue to push us towards the executive mansion. That's our play.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr.
You're welcome. Let me work on quickly. I know
Yeah.
we're trying to, to straddle a few things. My friend, brother Ishmael Fofana, he is our youth leader here in the diaspora.
Okay.
He's in the Philadelphia area. Ishmael, welcome. Don't forget to share the show as you join the V. Kroma here is also joining us from Jacobtown Chicken Farm. V, don't forget to share the show. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Ansu Sekutela. Ansu Teller is here. So thank you very much for joining us. Please share the show. Get your phone ready. The lines are going to be open. We want you to be interactive. Call us and tell us what you think about what the CMC is doing. Kareem Coleman. Kareem is watching us from, he says the CMC begin following. All right, Kareem. Thanks for joining us. And James Starr, of course, my brother all the way in Nigeria. Thanks for joining us. James, I was in Lagos in January. When I go back over there again, I told Mr. Dauda Kane, we'll probably find a way to get together, get to meet my brothers and sisters of the CMC in West Africa. But it's nice of you all to join us. Share the show. Invite a friend.
All right. Thank you. And again, if you just join us, we love to wish you well. We are talking Liberia and talking out of the issues concerning to the country.
Oh, look, who just joined us? Sorry, I'm the Tui. Mr. Abraham Richardson from Swissboro, New Jersey. I think you know what that is. That's Dr. Richardson's other better half. This is
Already.
the husband of the global chair, my best buddy. Thank you very much,
Oh,
AB. Thanks for joining us, my brother. It's nice of you to be here.
okay. So again, welcome to all of you. So we've talked a little bit about the CMC. We've talked about the police situation in Grand Bassa. Let's go back. Again, like we said, there are so many court issues happening in the country of late. If it is not about ownership of private property, it should be something with the assets recovery, or our judicial system looks very, very busy. I'm sure some of the demolition we see happening across the country are all predicated based on some of the action coming from the court. But someone has said if care is not taken, we will run in some very serious problem because it is difficult to understand how one would claim to own a land and leave it unattended for 40, 30, 40, 50 years. And people will build structure. Some of the structure we see being demolished weren't built overnight. We've heard testimonies of people living, in some of the structures for over 30 years. If you claim you are the owner of a property, for example, how come you haven't, made any attempt after 30 years, 35 years, somebody have lived in that premises, they've born their kids, they've grown, they've established, and 30, 35 years, then this unknown individual comes and says, this property belongs to my grandfather. You go to court, and the court grant the right to you to go and demolish. So if you break a man home that he resided in for 30 years, Mr. Nangbe, you send him 30 years back. So subtract 30 years from his age. So what become of that person? Because before people build structures, our economy is structured in a way that people goes through a lot to even construct a 2-bedroom house. And we see story buildings coming down because of a case taken to court. It is becoming alarming by the day. But I'm thinking if care is not taken by the court that rendering these judgments and giving people the rights to their land after 40 years, after 50 years, and someone has lived at that premises, only to have it demolished in the twinkling of an eye, it is frustrating. It is killing that person. And some of those structures are demolished and the space is left empty for forever. Here we have common example, the CDC headquarters since they raided that headquarters, they broke all of the structures down. That place has now turned to an empty space. We know the owner feel happy. They've regained access to their property. But was it just about demolishing the property? Or those things should be demolished? And would you see people in the mood to give the city a facelift? We can't be living in a city with debris all over the place because people are claiming the rights to the property. The courts, yes, they are doing that work, but people who have abandoned those properties, those land spots on a piece of land for over 40, 45 years, is there something that should be placed in our law, to make sure that when you abandon a property, because people will be living on those properties, they not go there and will acquiring them. They did not just come from cyberspace. to erect those properties. They may have bought it. Those lands sometimes are deeded. It is archived, but they still go to court, and we see these things happening. It is becoming frustrating, Mr. Nambe. Let me have to say on this one.
Look, this is a very difficult case. I'll be honest with you. Um, I totally understand. Some of these people have squatted on this land for 30 years, 25. You know, that's a lifetime. And some of these people, they know nowhere else but there. I get that. But there are also people who have the original deeds to these spots, to these. Land rights is a very complicated matter. And so those people who have the original deeds to these parcels of land, I think some of them have been waiting in the wings for also a very long time, for the courts to decide. So I understand that too. I think what concerns me and several others is the apparent total lack of humanity in the way these people are being evicted. What do I mean? You just talk about the bulldozers. For instance, let's remove the CDC because it's an institution. But yeah, the CDC, for instance, they go and raise these structures down, and then sometimes the land says there not much is being done. So that is concerning. But I think government has a role in this too. I think government has a role. Government has a responsibility to maintain law and order. I get that. They cannot go and contravene what the court has ordered. They cannot say don't move, even though the code says, you've been squatting here and therefore you should move. But the government then has to find a way to come in there and create a buffer for these people who are going to leave. You're not going to give them all of the money to put into developing this property, but at least they've been squatting on this land. They've kept it secure. They kept it, protected and all of that. So, is there any way that the government could help these people facilitate their transition? I don't know, but I just think taking the bulldozers and raising these people's buildings down, to me, I think it appears unconscionable, and I wish much care would have been taken and maybe much thought given to this, so that somehow we'll be able to give these people their land and yet remove these people who are occupying, who are squatting on these lands, uh, and find a sweet spot. It is like I said, it's a very difficult question. I understand the government's position in on this. They have to maintain law and order, but I just think they could have done better. Than the situation could have been handled better. Um, Taking these people and raising down their homes, I think the optics look bad. I think these are real families. I think they're agonizing. I don't know, but could the government have probably provided some kind of little transportation, whatever it is, to help these people relocate? Could the government have identified a spot to ask all these people to look to you know? I mean, Mount Barkley area. I don't know. Maybe they look. I think in Somalia or somewhere. I understand there's been written about. The government there just set aside a sizable portion of land and invite everybody in the diaspora. Go there. You don't need to buy. You just go there and select a spot. We'll process the deed for you, and then you develop that spot. I don't know if the government would have done that, but it just seems.
Mr. Langwe, let me pause you for a while and throw a question to you.
Right.
And the reason why I want us to have it in this form of conversation, because, for example, right now people think that the government of President Bouaka is doing more harm than good. Those affected families, are the ones crying, and they are crying in the name of the government. The government is headed by the president. Uh, there's been presidents here from the Ellen administration with all of the judicial system, the weird administration, and and then the Buaka's administration. Why has it become so aggressive under the Buaka's administration? And we didn't see that happen 12 years under the Ellen Johnson administration. We didn't see that, coming to light under the we as administration 6 years, but it has become very aggressive under the Buaka's administration just in 2 years. And if President Buaka is to go for re-election, this is where the the individuals providing analysis have started to say if President Buaka were more interested in a second term bid, the decision from the court demolishing homes, will not be as alarming as it is. But the way they are conducting this demolition exercise is rather depopularizing the Unity Party, even though it is a legal process. But people are putting the blame directly on the lap of the government. And this is giving a bad face to the UP administration. What do you think? You need to unmute your mic.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was saying I believe that argument can be made, and that is a point I was making that I think that it doesn't seem like enough care is being taken by this government. Yeah, you're right. Why all of a sudden this government has to be the one, to okay the demolition exercises that are going on around the country. I mean, that's a legitimate question. And then there are those who have argued, yes, the president, the current administration, the president is not interested in a second term, so he's not really interested in what the voters will think about his actions now, come 2029. But there are people in this government who have ambition for 2029, and so I don't know what they think, but it just seems like the way the process is being carried out, it seems completely absent. There seems to be a complete absence of humanity. These are real people. Like I said, you go and break, people's houses down. Where do you expect them to go? It rains so much in Liberia, and these people. So I don't know how much thought and how much the government could have done, but it just appears like they didn't try enough to um, to um, uh, accommodate some of these people. I'm not saying go and give somebody the value of their house, give them money to build a new place. That's not what I'm saying. But you could have given these people a little bit of um, assistance financially. You would have helped them identify a spot. There are several options available, but I don't know how many of these options the government considered. But again, on the face of it, it looks really bad. You get up in the morning and these people are wailing and falling down in the streets because, some of them had homes yesterday and all of a sudden today they have no homes. And so that is it. And I can understand too the government's um, attempt to satisfy these landowners. These people pay taxes to government. Maybe some of them really want to develop, their land and bring in more revenue to government. I don't know. But again, to pass it on to you, I just think much care needs to be taken in these matters. These are very difficult matters. Right now, it doesn't seem that way. And the president's comments about these things is not helpful either. To the effect that government doesn't make any new land. Yeah, that's understandable. But right now he's the father of the nation. He has to be seen to be fatherly. You have to be empathetic. You have to identify with this. It's always usually the people who are down the most. Those are the people we identify with because they're the ones who need a hand up. Not the people, who have thousands of dollars who can probably wait another 2, 3 years or so. Some of these people who own these lands, I don't think they're that much without. I think they can afford to wait a little bit while you negotiate something much better to accommodate these people who are squatting on this land. I agree. If you're a squatter, the land rights don't give you the authority to squat. But I think there are also limitations to what the law allows, landowners to do after the squatters have squatted for a number of years. I got to look at the law again on this, But all in all, I just think the government needs to do a little bit more. They need to exercise a little bit more empathy with these people. They need to identify more with them. Right now, the way it has been done, it doesn't seem that way.
Okay, so let's see how that turns out. At the end of the day, it is the government. So people who are affected, whether they come from a political party, all you hear them say is that they are putting the blame squarely on the government of the day,
Right.
because it is on their watch that these demolitions are taking place and people are getting displaced, whether it is done properly, legally, with the law. But once it is affecting them, they put the blame on the government. And at the end of the day, they hold that against the government of the day. Trust me, if today were considered election day, those individuals will vehemently vote against this administration of the day, owing to the fact that uh, they've seen under this administration that they've gotten displaced, they lost their property, and they hold that against the administration. They are not even thinking about their role, whether they were squatters or they didn't get legal right to the primacy, or whatever way it is, they will continue to put the blame on the government of the day. Let's switch our attention to this big conversation that seems to not be going to be anytime soon. Again, it is a court decision. I'm sure you are aware that the criminal court A presiding judge, Roosevelt Willie, seemed to be making a lot of rounds in the media. His court, criminal court A, has rejected the Clark Weir Foundation bid to block the subpoena order. And of course, they've asked them to release that document to the assets recovery that link the Clark Weir Foundation to the ongoing investigation. Judge Willie denied the motion filed by the Clark Hope Foundation to quash a writ of subpoena.
I think Mr. Tuve is. Are you there? I think he's having another problem. But I think he was going to the story of the Cloudware Foundation asking the Criminal Code A, I believe at the Temple of Justice, to quash or to deny the rate. So let me read quickly. Court rejects Clark Hope Foundation's bid to block subpoena orders release of documents in asset recovery probe linked to former First Lady Clark Weir. This is being reported. I don't remember. I don't see. But anyway, we'll get to it. But the presiding judge of Criminal Court A, Roosevelt Willie, has denied a motion filed by the Clark Hope Foundation to quash a writ of subpoena deduces taken. I think these are Latin, issued by the Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force, AREP, in support of an ongoing investigation. Judge Willie rejected the foundation's argument that complying with the subpoena would violate constitutional protections against self-incrimination. The subpoena was sought by AREP in collaboration with the Ministry of Justice. I read alleges that government resources were used to construct the foundation and were subsequently converted to private use by former First Lady Clark Weir. In his ruling, Judge Willie held that the court has jurisdiction over Section 5.2 of the Criminal Code Procedure of the Criminal Procedure Law, as well as the Anti-Money Laundering and Financial Act of 2012. He further determined that the foundation's general manager, Jackson P. Beming, is a third party and not the direct subject of criminal investigation. Citing the Supreme Court of Liberia decision in the Vani Sherman case, Judge Willie noted that constitutional rights may, in certain circumstances, be limited in the interest of the state. So, yeah, this is, I think we're all aware of the back and forth between the asset recovery and asset retrieval task force with the former First Lady. So, there are a few things here to take away. One, the First Lady's lawyers are arguing that um, the the Asset Recovery Commission is trying to put them in the situation where they will provide evidence to incriminate themselves. I think that's the argument they're making. One, I don't know, I don't understand what the fight really is. If you have nothing to hide, I don't know why this has to be a fight over whether to or not to um, produce your documentation. I think they should. They are also arguing that doing so will cause them to incriminate themselves. How? I don't understand that either. How do you incriminate yourself? Are you going to be providing evidence that is criminal in nature? I don't know. But the court is arguing, Judge Willie, that Jackson Birmingham, who is being subpoenaed to present the document, is not a party to the conflict. He is the manager of the station, but he is not a party, and therefore he is not to consider himself as providing evidence against himself to incriminate himself. I think this is the argument the court is making. You make the argument if you are the one in court and you are being forced to provide to adduce evidence against yourself. I'm not a lawyer, but I have a lot of lawyer friends. I think the argument can be made if you are the one in court and the court is compelling you to produce evidence that will incriminate you. But they're saying Mr. Jackson Birmingham is a third party. He is not a party to this conflict, but he is the one who has been subpoenaed to produce the document in behalf of the Cloudware Foundation. I don't really see any problem there. I lost you there for a minute, Mr. Toby, but my argument is one: if the former first lady has nothing to hide, why is she putting him a fight? Why can't she just go ahead and produce whatever documentation that she has? The funding, sources of funding, contributors, or whatever. Two, I think the argument they're making that the court or the asset recovery is trying to force them into producing evidence against themselves that could incriminate them. I don't understand that, and I'm not really buying that. But the court is making it clear that Mr. Jackson Wemmy, whom they are trying to compel to produce the evidence, is not a party to the case, and therefore he is not going to be incriminating himself. He will not be providing evidence against himself that will
But
incriminate him.
but to that point, I think Jackson is the administrator.
Correct.
Jackson runs the day-to-day affairs of the foundation.
Correct.
So if they are requesting documents from the foundation, he as an administrator should be the ones questioned or asked to submit those documents. But on
That
the
is
other
possible.
side, on the other side of it,
Yeah.
is that we are informed that there were 3 subpoenas or subpoena.
Okay.
They also subpoenaed the BMC, the company that were being hired to do the work on the Cloud Foundation. and so they complied.
Exactly.
So if the construction company were able to comply, given what will be news because they received the funding. So why is it becoming difficult for the foundation that spend the money to equally make good, their side of what they gave the construction company? Because the BMC that did the construction work, we are told by the court or by the assets recovery that they've submitted as per the subpoena what they were requested to submit. So if, like you rightly said, if there's nothing too hard to avoid all of the controversy and people buying into sympathy for the kids, on the campus of the foundation, to lay this to rest, the best thing, again, we are not legal luminaries,
No,
so
we're not.
we are speaking from the surface of the case. But again, it is assets recovery. That's what they said. And if it is not possible, we are hearing now that they've run to the Supreme Court, and again, it means that we still got some way to go. But the million dollar question here is, if three of the companies involved that was subpoenaed, two have cooperated, and so it is now those documents against the pending document to do the comparison. If all of the parties involved were to reject the subpoena, then of course we should be talking about that collaboration. But if it was a teamwork, uh, they received the cash, they did the foundation, they did the pavement, they did the swimming pool, they did all of the campuses, the dormitory, the fencing of the building. So they know how much cash went into that project because they were the recipient of the materials. They charge the Cloudware Foundation in tens of cents and dollars, giving the overhead cost of the entire project. What we haven't heard is the total cost that is in question. And the argument here is from the assets recovery. The foundation have said there were funding from partners outside Liberia. I'm sure they want to know how much was that funding.
Right.
There was an office run by the first lady. That office was being financed by the government of Liberia. If some of that money went to the project, how much did go to the project? What's the total amount of money that went to the project? So if the construction company has given a report as per the court demand, that means that construction company have said, contrary to all of the different conversation, because they were the implementer, they received the money. So they may have given a report, and based on that report, they want to know what the foundation itself will be reporting.
Right.
So if the BMC company could work in hands with the Cloud Hope Foundation, they could have just compared, the both reports and submit as per the subpoena. So there will be no contradiction in the report, because the contradiction from the construction company and the contradiction from the Cloud Hope Foundation is what the prosecutors will be looking for. That is what the assets recovery will be looking into. If the document, correspond, but if there are conflicting figures on some of the line items, then of course there will be more questions to ask. But they have complied. They've given a document to the court or to the assets recovery, and one side of the bargain have said no, we're going to the Supreme Court. And again, it is a judicial issue, so we're just speaking from our layman perspective. We are not lawyers. We may not understand all of the technical jargon, the technical details of what is happening, but from the surface of it, they've said They are going to the Supreme Court, and now we will see what happened, because in cases that we've seen, yeah, sometimes the Supreme Court can hold um, the ruling from the lower court. Sometimes they trash it, and they can also do their own ruling. But it is a judicial thing, but it is a serious matter, and Liberians are talking about it. We thought that we could also raise that here on our platform, and it is a technical thing, Mr. Nangwe.
It is, Mr. Toby, but I think you put it so right that I don't know if there's anything much I can add. But let me tell my people, especially my people who are listening and not watching the radio, is that your mom selling farina, right? You put the farina in the room, you go in the room, you come outside, you close your mouth is puff up. They say, what in your mouth? You say, nothing in my mouth, right? They say, open your mouth. You say, no, I can't open my mouth, but nothing in my mouth. You know, if you got nothing in your mouth, you will open your mouth and they will look in it. So I agree with you. I don't understand the contention that the foundation is putting up. I think they themselves are inviting suspicion on the foundation. I think only because of the way they are acting. I can understand, the former president and the former administration. They will make a stand, against this administration for any and everything. I get that, but I think they've made a point. I believe, like you indicated, if some parts of some of the contractors are already, making available their books for the asset recovery team to take a look at the books. What is the fight about? I don't see it. And so, if they're going to go to the Supreme Court, yeah, it is their right to do that. But I have to let them know that in the process, I think they're losing the battle in the court of public opinion. I think a lot of people are wondering now, but what is it that they have to fight so hard to hide that they have to go as far as the Supreme Court? I mean, either you have nothing to hide or you have something to hide. And so, if I were to advise them, which I'm not, I would just caution them to be careful here. I believe they made a stand, they made a point. I think they want to indicate that they can be pushed around. I think that point is made sufficiently. But I think they've reached the end of that argument. If they have nothing to hide, I will urge them, to open their books to the asset recovery team, let them take a look. And if they have any questions, they can provide them, and if they have not done nothing wrong and they're being accused falsely, yes, then they have a right to put up a fight and go as far as the Supreme Court. But all this fight over just to see your books, I think it raises a lot of eyebrows.
Okay, so that's it. We hope Heron and of course Ansu
Yeah,
can return to the studio so that we can have some public um, engagement on the show tonight.
absolutely.
And we can access our phone lines so that people can call us and see whether we are making sense or we are talking annoying things in their ears. It's interesting to see how people are following the conversation. But let's go back to the Liberian Senate. And there's this running uh, debate now, and we see actors in our space think that there's been some interference. Again, there will be an accusing finger from the side of the executive wanting to shield some individuals within the Liberian Senate based on an audit conducted in the Senate. Remember, the House of Representatives having done their audit, honorability has been standing tall on wanting that body to be audited. They've refused on their own grounds. The Senate have professed to have conducted an audit done by the GAC. That audit came up with a very nasty funding. And of course, Liberians have been asking about the details of the audit. But surprisingly, the Ministry of Justice sent a communication through a committee to the Liberian Senate,
Yeah.
subpoenaing them to provide documents. The document went to the Senate, which of course were being received, and Liberians in certain quarters thought that was a bold step by the Ministry of Justice. But a few hours after, the Ministry of Justice record their own letter, their own subpoena letter from the Liberian Senate. The question here is, why did the Senate, why did the Ministry of Justice send the letter in the first place? And why they decided to withdraw the letter from the Senate? The indication that is now being speculated is that people in the Senate who's been playing around finances, darling boys and darling girls of the executive. And if that document that is being requested were to be submitted, a lot of heads will roll in the Liberian Senate. People will be brought to public ridicule. Some people may not have to face the walk because we're talking Liberian people money here. The money is not their salaries. Those monies were being misapplied, misappropriated, diverted. All sort of different things happen according to the audit. So if the Ministry of Justice have decided to request supporting documents and they communicated to the Liberian Senate, why did the ministry withdraw that communication? Why are they withdrawing the subpoena they requested? The speculation is now that the executive have gotten involved and they've talked to the Minister of Justice, who's under the executive, to withdraw the letter. And that seemed to be a serious slap in the face as we intend to fight corruption. Because if the GAC conduct an audit and it is against an institution like the Liberian Senate, and people want to do selective justice, why subpoena to be working in other people's cases, and it should not work in the case of the Liberian Senate? Why is our justice system requesting for supporting document? For example, we're just talking Clawea Foundation. They are now saying, bring your document, bring your document to the assets recovery. But if the Liberian Senate that went through a government sponsor institution, the GAC, the money the GAC news is the Liberian People Resources. They conducted the audit. They found irregularities, misapplication, and all sort of different things in the audit. And they are requesting the Senate for documents to verify some of the spending of monies that were allotted, that were mismanaged according to the GAC report. How come they've withdrawn that communication? Why you think so? Is it coming from the executive? We agree that there are three but separate branches of government, but they coordinate. Are we seeing a proper coordination now between the executive and the judiciary? That at this point in time, they want to shield people in the Liberian Senate because there are big names. There are people who are sitting on financial committees that should account for the monies in question. It is not their salary. It is not their gas coupon. It is not their scratch card. We're talking thousands, if not millions of Liberian dollars that is now in question. And why is the Ministry of Justice trending the way they are, Mr. Namwe?
Well, Mr. Toby, if you remember, you were in the media business. I think it was in February of 2024, around the first week of February, when the president of the Republic of Liberia, President Boaka, announced that the government was going to audit key security sectors or agencies. He named the CBL, he named the NSA, and he named the EPS. And we were like, what? This is finally the day, you know. A few days later, the president reversed course. This sounds and seems like the same old record. I don't know whether the justice minister consulted the executive mansion when this announcement was made, to the extent that the letter was sent out. But first of all, the justice minister is that one minister in the cabinet who is uniquely positioned to say no, to contradict the presidency without expecting any repercussion. He has that immunity, that coverage, so he doesn't have to always agree with the executive. And I hope my cardinal buddy, Illumina buddy, will remind himself of that. He has that responsibility. He needs not to be afraid. But having said that, as you notice here under my name here for months now, I've agreed with the political leader of the CMC. We need to audit the legislature. So this is just the Senate, but I believe, if I'm right, the political leader has indicated over and again that between 2018, I think, to now, over $300 million, almost $400 million went through that house, the legislature. So $26 million. If you read the story, I think there are additional, numbers that millions you can add to the 26 million. But now we're selling 26 million is no chump change. So I am not sure to what extent the justice minister prepared himself before he lifted the lid over this cesspool. But that Capitol building is a cesspool. It's a cesspool of corruption. And one day we will find a way to unveil and remove the cap over that. The justice minister, I don't think he prepared himself for this. I am sure he had a lot of talking to. A lot of people called him, maybe some from the executive, and told him, "My man, do you know what you're trying, what you're starting?" So, but it makes him look bad, and now it also raises the suspicion as well that has been hanging over this legislature. So what is going to happen? I mean, he laid out the reason for calling for the audit. These people were appropriated a certain amount in the budget, but the outturn revealed expenditure on numerous occasions that amounted to almost $26 million. So how are they going to fund that? It's just like the justice minister, the finance minister, coming to discuss the budget of $880 million, and I think he discussed 900 and something million. Where did the extra come from? It's just the same kind of situation. So, these guys in the government here, they were supposed to be the adult, they rail against the CDC government, how this government is corrupt and incompetent and this and that. But sometimes, you marvel at how reckless and how cavalier they can be, and they just don't care, But I think we'll continue to mount the cause. The justice minister needs to explain to our people why he reversed himself. What is the rationale for reversing himself? And President Walker himself, I think he enjoys portraying himself as this man of integrity. What does he have to say about this? He prides himself on being a man of integrity. All of this is happening on his watch. He has to have something to say about this. He has to have something to say about it. What is he saying about it? Somebody needs to explain to us what is responsible for the U-turn. So we want that audit to proceed. I believe Musa Belete has already prepared a letter. If I'm not mistaken, the political leader of the CMC, I think he has written a letter either to the Minister of Justice, the Supreme Court, or one of these, but he's calling for an audit of the legislature, and the CMC will rally behind him.
Yeah. So again, people will keep watching to see how it's going to turn out between the corridors. But I'm not sure it is sending any good message out there, because for the fact that the Justice Ministry, through a committee of professional people, will want some questions answered and requesting documents, and just within few hours they will record that communication. They have left everyone sitting at the edge of their seat and wondering what seemed to be happening.
Yeah.
And if the country is to progress, we should not be selective in enforcing what is on our book. And like we said, the justice system is more aggressive. There have been a lot of intervention from the court, from different segments of the court on several issues, and people are keeping their eyes on those issues. We were just talking demolition on court orders. People are shifting the blame on the government. We're talking corruption. The government is sending Samuel Toye and other people, for trial. They are allowing those trials to resume. The court has refused, some of the immunities that Mr. Toye thought he carries. Now that process has resumed. It is a court process. So when people are abiding by those processes, that is law, on our jurisprudence, we should not be making intervention when there are more issues that people will want to find out. The cases, the monies that are in question is similar to some of the monies that we're talking about, that people are accusing former Minister Samuel Toye and others, of mismanaging. So if there are documents to prove to the court and they are being questioned on those issues, if the same justice system is in doubt of monies under the Liberian Senate and they are requesting for document, there was no reason why that communication were to be taken back to the Ministry of Justice. It means somebody somewhere may have placed a call to withdraw that communication, because in detail, that communication, once abided by, will bring about lots of names, people who are close from the Senate that works directly under the protection of the executive. And that is why people are again shifting the blame on the executive, that they are rather interfering with issues coming from the court. But that's Liberia. We are looking to see the voices that will come out in the coming days to make sure that that situation at the Liberian Senate will not be swept under the carpet. But there's this unfolding situation between the Ministry of Transport on vehicle registration. So we know that under the law, we've seen a lot of power taken away from certain ministries and certain agencies and put on different ministries, because the legislature gave the power as per the enactment of those ministries and agencies. They are the same group of individuals who take away some of the powers. There are the instances. We know that, for example, the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs and Tourism, MICAP, is now the Ministry of Information. The Culture Affairs and Tourism has been taken away, so that has been divided. So there is a tourism and cultural aspect now all by itself. We know there was a Ministry of Health and Social Welfare. They've taken the social welfare component, they've given it to the Gender Ministry. So there have been a lot of different, taking small power from here and giving it to another person. But the Ministry of Transport that has carried the registration power, vehicle registration and issuing of driver's license, that authority seemed to be slipping away from the Ministry of Transport and is being subcontracted to the Liberia Traffic Management Team. Controversially, because not many persons seem to want that happen, because the individuals who are handling documentation are all people of not Liberians, let's put it that way. So it is a foreign company that will handle our document for registration for vehicles and issues lesson to us under the Liberian Traffic Management Team. So there's been this uncertainty as to what become of the workers that work at the Ministry of Transport and who initially took on that responsibility of registering vehicles, issuing lessons, what become of them, whether they will be absorbed under the new arrangement or they will be left in the ministry to perform other tasks. That is the question. But prior to that, there was a company, MDMC, that signed a contract with the Ministry of Transport. I'm told it was a 9-year contract or something between there to provide vehicle license plate. And so if the ministry is going to be left out of that arrangement and that power is now going to the Liberia Traffic Management, what becomes of the MDMC? Again, they go to court. And so Associate Justice Yusuf D. Kabar of the Supreme Court has cited the Ministry of Transport through its Minister Salif Talon to appear before it on tomorrow, Friday, the 27th, in response to a petition filed by the Module Development and Management Corporation, MDMC. According to the Justice in Chimba, the citation by directive of His Honor Yusuf D. Kabar, Associate Justice presiding in Chimba, you are hereby cited to a conference with His Honor on Friday, February 27, at the hour of 10 o'clock a.m. in connection with the petition. MDMC seeks to halt Liberia Traffic Management Operation. So there's a conference on tomorrow. But again, this is another hula balloon. It's been running for some time. There's been allegation claims and counter claims that the police is giving. But again, the traffic management people came with a lot of logistics, right? They've given some of those logistics to the Liberian National Police. That's why you see Police Inspector General Gregory Como seems to be the darling board of the Liberia Traffic Management, because they give them radios, they give them traffic vehicle, motorbikes, all sort of different things to ease the work of the Liberia National Police, because they brought in those inspection vehicles, those traffic vehicles to put some fast in the traffic. And the police seems to be in support of that. Under the Weird administration, that didn't work. That Liberia Traffic Management being here since the Ellens administration, they did not succeed. They came around in the Weird administration. I remember at a certain point in time, former President Weir went to inspect their facility, but then there was somewhere in the sinker on the land side, somewhere 9th Street or land side, going to check the vehicles, the motorcycles, tow truck, and everything that they brought into the country. That was a conversation that did not materialize. And because some of the guys who's been around the Unity Party in the Ellens administration knew about that Liberia Traffic Management. So when they took power, they again thought to resurface that conversation. This time around, I'm sure they've succeeded. And it's like the Ministry of Transport is going to give out some of our power through the national legislature. They're going to take away the transport the vehicle registration and the license plates aspect and give it to the Liberia Traffic Management. And then the inspection aspect will be left with the Ministry of Transport. And then I give you document, but I'll be the one inspecting your document. That's the power they want to give for the Ministry of Transport. This is the conversation. Let me hear you on this one, Mr. Nagwe.
Well, look, like you rightly, summarized, Liberia Traffic Management, they were here, just like Arthur Inzi, right? Arthur Inzi, the guy who's trying to do the oil business, the oil well. He was here during the early time when President Bouakai was vice president, paid chump change for the oil well, went and sold it for millions and millions of dollars, right? So he's came back. When his buddies came back into power, it's looked a similar thing. LMT, Liberia Traffic Management, LTM. We understand they actually did go court with MDMC, then they just didn't appear when the matter was being adjudged. And so I think the MDMC then concluded that they had abandoned the case, and so they decided, to move ahead with the traffic management, contract. But none apparently they only decided to lie in wait and wait for their buddies to come back to power. But look, here is the matter here. You have a foreign-based company. We understand this company is of an American and Lebanese makeup. You're giving it 25 years for $275 million. I don't care whether it's $1, but you are doing this against a Liberian company. Does that make any sense at all? I mean, John Uboti is a Liberian. Now, I understand the UP may not like his politics because, he was on the headquarters reconstruction committee. And I understand he had to quietly remove his name. I think this is what he was afraid of. So it is a crime now not to belong to UP in Liberia. Once you don't belong to UP, then you're not a human being. You got no blood in you. So yeah, they're taking a foreign company and they're putting gravy on their table, and they're kicking the Liberian company to the curb. It doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, President Wiatan, this is a matter that has been going back and forth between the Liberia Traffic Management and MDMC. They went to court on this matter because apparently they were trying to muscle MDMC out of the way. They were about to judge this case. They did not show up. I think they knew they were going to lose the case, and so they waited until this government came in. Salif Tyler has been quiet on this thing. I don't know what side he stands on, but the MDMC, the Ministry of Transport, we believe has statutory authority to decide on this matter. Apparently they're not, because we understand they got their marching orders from the executive mansion to go ahead and give the contract to Liberia Traffic Management. But Ubodi has a 9-year contract with Ministry of Transport. I think he signed this contract either 2021, whatever it is, but he still has, a contract with the ministry. And what doesn't make sense to me is the fact that we even have to choose between a foreign company and a Liberian. If these were two Liberian companies, I would probably sit back and say, what, let's look at the merit of this case and all of that. But I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. And here we are every day arguing about the middle class, the absence of a middle class in Liberia. We have no Liberian millionaires. Everything is foreign. So you have a foreign company here. Ubodi has been cleaning Monrovia City for a long time. I think he's been there since Doe time, MDMC, he's been around. I think he has some experience and some expertise, and it looks like he's already doing this job. Anyway, what is it? To make license plate? It's not very technical. Make license plate, issue driver's license, and inspect cars to make sure they are roadworthy. I think that's all they're doing. So that's that. And then the motorists are also complaining. The people are complaining that the prices that these people are charging, are too high. To do this very services that MDMC was doing at far less. So it looks that all sentiments are against this Liberia Traffic Management, and yet this government is stone deaf, just like the other guy we listened to last night who delivered the State of the Union. The crowd is singing a different song and they're dancing to a different tune. I think this is a bad deal. I understand the Senate or the House, one of them, a couple of days or so ago, also placed a halt on this because everybody acknowledges that this deal is bad. So I hope Judge Kabar, who is inviting these people tomorrow. I hope you will talk some sense into these people who are representing the Liberia traffic. Look, I understand internationalism. If you want to give these people a little piece of the contract, maybe you should find a way, and cut them into it, whatever it is. But to
But
take
but
this,
but but Mr. Nangbe, what else do we know the Ministry of Transport to do? The Liberian men said in here, we know that they're responsible for rail transport, air transport, and what have you.
right,
But in terms of the hands-on sort of job,
right,
that affect the Liberian community, and, is a key portion of their function that they've done, since they were given that authority. So we know that they're responsible for driver's license insurance. They are responsible for vehicle license plates, through contract to people who will produce those license plates. So if you take those two very well-known components of the Ministry of Transport and leave them with the inspectorate component and the rest of the other component, how vibrant does that ministry, remains? You know, so we only see inspectors out from the Ministry of Transport when it's time to inspect. What are they inspecting? What will they be inspecting? The Liberia Traffic Management got a sophisticated system. The vehicles that they give the Liberia National Police that that are now involved with some of the work, the way they uniform the traffic, police officers, like those state highway police guys in the US and other places. So they stop you and they issuing tickets already, they towing people vehicle, they charging people for traffic violation and other stuff. If they are to amend the Liberia National Police in regulating road traffic, which Liberians think will be very commendable because of the reckless nature of some of our drivers, not respecting traffic sign and crosswalk and pedestrian, right away and those things, to bring some civility to our roads will be something that people will want to see with the police. But to take a major component of a ministry, even though it was legislated to them and it's going to be taken away because the executive wants that to happen. Again, it is the executive that wants that to happen. They are the one pushing for that portion to leave a function of the executive arm, because the Ministry of Transport is part of the executive. So they want to move that portion and give it to a private institution. So what sort of work that is going to be more vibrant at the Ministry of Transport, to even have a transport minister that will be taking pay, a deputy minister for operation? There's a whole cream of ministers line up. They will sit there and take taxpayer money and will not be doing the job that is required of the ministry. We'll give that portion to the Liberia Traffic Management team. And like you read this, it is not a Liberian company against a Liberian company, but it is a Liberian company against a foreign company with Liberian interests in the foreign company. Because Mr. Ubuti, like you read this, he's been around from the early administration. He's been around transport. He's been doing roads construction. The CDC administration, he was here. And apparently because of his link to the past administration and what have you in previous administration, today that portion of what he's been earning, producing the plate, and people are thinking that people makes a lot of money from these contracts. So what become of his 9-year agreement with the Ministry of Transport? Are they going to trash it? But like you read this, we hear from Josh Cabaron tomorrow.
That's right.
And see how that actually pans out.
Yeah.
Let me announce a number
Okay.
Maybe somebody somewhere, since our guys in the main studio,
Absolutely. Let's do that. Hang
have
on. Let me
left
see.
us.
Let me see if I can type it in the chat. Go ahead. I'll write it down and type
Yeah,
it.
and see
Ping it.
whether they can come to open the lines. But if not, if you're joining us and you want to make some comments on what we've been talking so far this evening, Liberian time, wherever you are, call us on 0886. That's 0886 557858. We allow you to speak to us. You're entitled to your opinion, you're entitled to your view. You can disagree with what we've said so far, and you can also put forth your argument to agree to what we've said or support some of what we've said, disagree with us as well. And that's the beauty of what we intend to do here for you on this platform. So you can call us on 0886 557858. Once we get your calls coming on to our lines, we'll put you through, and you can join us right here from where we speak.
Do you see my
Let's move.
name?
Yeah, you were about to say something, Mr. Nangwe, before we come on to our next topic.
Yes. No. Quickly, I was going to say. This is the number. Is it right? 0886 557 858
7858.
785. Okay. No, I was just quickly going to add, and thank you for the number. Audience, you may call that number if you want to make an input in our discussion. Look, over the world, Mr. Toby, governments are not known to be the efficient executioner of.
Mr. Nangwe, let me hold you there and see if we can take the very first person here with us.
Okay.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm always straight. I'm calling from Iowa.
Go ahead, Morris. Thanks for joining us here.
Yeah, about the issue about the transport and transport management. So for me, I look like the transport management will just be useless in the country because if they're not working to send money in the Iowa comment revenue, they will be like they're not working. It will just be the free. They just the free money from the government because the minister will eat free money. The cabinet minister of operation, all of them will just be eating free money because they're not working for it. So I tell you, our government have to look into it to see about our transport management, our transport ministry.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I think his point is those government officials will be sitting at the Ministry of Transport and will be paying them because some of the core functions has now been transferred or will be transferred to the Liberia Traffic Management. So again, 0886 557858 are the numbers. You can call us and have a say right here. Go ahead, Mr. Nangwe.
No, I was going to say governments over the world are not known to be efficient at execution. So they always outsource and privatize these operations. Government, I work for the government,
Hello?
of Liberia.
Let's take the next person here. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, Anime, where are you calling from?
My name is Ferdinand Jana, calling from Apokara, West Amkata.
Samukata Apokara. Go ahead, Mr. John.
Yeah, that's just something I want to say about this government. I don't know why. It would just be that one day we just wake up, it would just sell the country to foreigner. And then another one. Since I did my registration at the ministry, transport ministry, the waiting time almost, let's say, 1 week now. 2 weeks rather, I can get it. So that they're about to take the country out from them. Although I see them bad, but they can waste time too much.
They can waste time, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a diverse thing. He said,
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ministry of Transport can waste time. So in his mind, He thinks that he should take the contract, and maybe he wants things to be fast track because he's been there 2 weeks now. He haven't gotten his document. But all of these crashes here and there, it also affect productivity. So maybe the guys maybe having some issue. But again, 0886-557-858. Just place a call. Have to say it if you're following us via radio or whatever means you are monitoring us from where you are watching or maybe monitoring. You can call in and have your say. Let's go. No, we missed out on that caller. I hope that call will come in again so that that person can make their point. But it is a very interesting time right here for those of you monitoring us across Liberia on Truth FM, Nimad, and Truth FM Morovia. Make your call. Let's stay with the line and take the next caller here. How are you?
Hello?
Yes, how are you?
Yeah.
We are hearing you. Your name and where are you calling from?
All right. And so
Please go ahead. Yeah, my concern has to do with the transport management. Yeah, this traffic management actually don't really understand their impact in this whole thing because it is already the space that they are actually fighting on is already occupied. And they are coming, even shows that probably they have come to just collect some things and just find a way out. More especially what I actually experienced was these few days. They just imagine when they just park a vehicle, then instead of them asking for documents or what have you, the first thing they will request for is the license. Whenever they ask for the license and the shoes and the lessons, the next thing to do now is that if you are to them now, their reason of getting your lessons, then the next thing you receive is ticket. Just like they come in with that, mentality of collecting something and just goes away. So I don't actually understand they are coming into this position actually. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much for joining us. We are staying here taking some of your calls via our network. We still got some time left here on the show. There's another call coming in. Let me see if I can get the person through the line. Hello? You need to wake up and talk. What are you talking about?
Yeah. There's only one thing we're talking on all the things that you're talking. The way people running the country is so funny. Because our agency or government ministry that have the power to run certain things, you're taking it from them and giving it to foreigners. It's so strange. I know when that has been happening in the Republic. Go garden, when you leave one sugar cane on top of your car, my brother, all your cleaning can be correct. They will give you ticket. What is that? So when I bring nothing in the car or you leave one sugar cane there, they give you ticket. One sugar cane, my brother.
But I can charge you for you improper carry. You put low on top of my car.
It's too much, my brother. I feel look, today I was coming from Basel. People have almost a Nazi car park.
Wow.
For that compound one day, where they can go. Extorting money from people. And that job of money and finding document and other things, but the money that you're collecting from people on the fee is wrong. You see? The next thing I just wanted to speak on is how to do that foundation. The problem here is the poor, it was the country that they give it back. The monetary confusion in the country. Because the problem about all that is going on, you're confusing every Liberian, especially for me. You go to your boss people home, no justice. You go so you say the other people, then Bwagaki no power. How many persons you are called from the unity party those who our oil black. How many people you are covering, sir? For the government you work in, how many people you are covering? And you want to be transparent and be a real and man that come with clean. But when they want we are government key and running behind, what happened to anyone children that's all our money? You ain't that then too. It's so funny, man. My brother, you know when they both they're going, they want to bring someone at war. They say, oh, they put in here they brought confusion and this and that. They just pressing all kind of body to confuse people so they can go into some kind of argument in this country. But God will not allow it to happen. But it's too much now.
Okay.
Thank you, man, for the show.
All right. Thank you. Thank you ever so much. We still got a few time here for you. So that if you are up, like we know, give us a call on 0886-557858. We can take maybe 3.
I think Enzo is back. You want to give me a little. You know, this is that they know how to do this. I don't know. I know you know it too, Mr. Tobe. But
Which one is that?
I see Bossman answer is on. Is you know, I'm talking about men in the line.
I bet. That make him sleepy. You know,
Enzo, what's up, my man?
Good though. Thank you, Mr. Nangwe. I just still in the office monitoring the show.
Okay, so answer with more. Yeah, let me take a few calls for you. If we can take it for your end, no problem. Let's see who's here. Hello. Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for the show and the panelists. The show.
Okay.
To the issue. This government see why the contract from the Liberia company and the different company. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said this one today. So the company they contract you the because they doing the money that the company they will charge every price that the money that the company will get. They will get to net certain time will come, then they will want to take the contract from the people again and give out to the Liberia company. So money that they will get, the own government that will come after that, they will want audit that, then we say, oh, the foreign contract is the contract for all will get a foreign company. So they will want okay, get a company to audit and no problem. So they just doing it to get that money, so the money being a cover. I want to do all that, but not doing it because of the Liberian people. They doing it to get that money for the company to share in that money. Like company want to.
Okay.
Yes, all the idea they put in also.
Thank you. Okay, so we're still hearing from you on the show tonight. So let's see if we can still take few more of your introduction so that we can wrap up the show tonight. We'll be talking a lot on different issues trending in the country. I'm sure you've been following. So you want to call in. It's not late. Place a call on 0886-557858. You'll be live here on this platform. It's relayed on Truth FM Morovia, Truth FM Secretary, Voice of Bone in Banga, Bond County. So we are on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Mr. Nangbe, let's introduce our final point. We're just about to talk about our final talking point so that we go home tonight. We'll stay with the cause. And so finally, the Liberian National Police today transferred the 61, is that her age, 61 or 51? Year-old woman. The woman who killed her grandchildren in mainland town in Nimba. She's now spending her first night at the Sanikore Central Prison. Earlier on today, it was reported via Roman, which of course were being clarified and that she disappeared from police custody. The police had to come out to rebut that. and we saw her living body today be transferred to the central prison. What message is that sending against impunity, Mr. Nangwe?
You know, Mr. David, we started again by talking about the apparent foot dragging on the prosecution of rape cases. I think we said some 2,700 and almost 2,760 reported rape cases between between 2024 and now. And so it is the same thing when you know. I'm glad they produced this woman's living body, and you know, everybody was whoever had doubts about her, whether she was still in detention. I'm glad they cleared that up. It's the same thing we had recently. Some outlets had to go into South Beach and produce evidence of Mr. Jala being in detention, Mr. and the Preki. My son says you call him Preki, Prophet Key, and also I think Peaceability, our own political leader's son. But people have reason for holding these suspicions. You know, I didn't even know that there are instances in Liberia where some people of certain status will go to jail. They will be sent to jail, and they will go home at night and come back in the day. I don't understand that. But
Wait a minute, my call, yeah. Yes, hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for joining us. From Border side? Yeah, please speak a little bit louder. Pass away?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We are hearing you.
Yeah, I want to talk about this government. They are trying to give all the security aspect to the foreigners.
You give all the security aspect to the foreigner.
The immigration service, I think they try to give the resident permit, try to give it to foreigners, or let's just say foreigners are doing it. The traffic management foreigners. I don't know how the country is.
Are you saying they're giving the resident permit to foreigner to do for us?
That's how we're hearing. The resident permit, sorry. Some Lebanese are doing it.
For the immigration people? The ticket for immigration and get of Lebanese people?
That's what we're hearing.
Okay. Then they take the traffic, they take the license plate and give it to another foreigner.
So we don't know if the government trying to take money from foreigners, trying to do what they want to do. I don't know. Like yellow machine issue.
Yeah.
Why they clean the yellow machine that the contract trying to avoid to the Australian guy to face the roof from to allow to keep my one. The government can initiate their own company to at least do the project, then to get the money to foreigners or someone else. At least it will be some job opportunities for the Liberians, for the greater another company while retiring the country. Anyway, that's it.
That's it. I think you actually making a very serious point. You heard him, Mr. Nangwe, he said with all of the engineers in our country, now the government got enough yellow machines. Why can't they form a Liberian company to do the roads? And because if the issue of road fixing in our country is is centered around equipment, and we got people here who work with public works who are engineers, with all of the 100+ yellow machine to do the roads, we should have our own engineering company with Liberians engineers, giving them the contract. We are not buying the rags. We producing the rags here. We got sand here. We got everything we need for road. So if a Liberian engineering company formed by the government put all of the technocrats together, like they do at public works, and take it from a foreigner and give that money to a Liberian, that will be creating jobs for Liberians. But again, we'll give it to foreigner. But let's close up now. It's 15 minutes after 11 o'clock. Our time is time for us to go. Let me allow you close from your end so that we can go tonight.
But thank you very much, Toby. And thanks to Ansu and Henry. Henry, Ansu, you guys, you got to build this into the show. We'll take calls every day. We're coming. So thank you all. You should be ready. We'll take more calls. We're trying to build our audience base. There's no shame about it. This is our new schedule. People are still getting used to it. So people are a little bit confused. So we'll make it interactive. We might introduce what we used to do on Fridays. We'll do a little giveaway here and there so that we can, help people spread the word. So we're working on that in the back. I haven't shared that with my global leader yet, but that's something we should probably bring back. So people win a little bit of prizes on Fridays or something like that. We'll talk about that. But listen, closing on this topic, we went back on, the government lackadaisical approach to law enforcement, the rape cases, this old lady in Nimba with her grandkids, very unfortunate. Our people don't look. Our people's trust in the legal system is at a deficit, and this government needs to do everything possible to restore confidence in the legal system. Look, Mr. I have gone to cases here. There are people who know in that bureau. People don't go to court most of the time because they know by the time the court reaches the case is already decided. We need to remove all these things from the legal system. People need to have confidence in because the courts have to be able to deliver. People should go to court with expectation. I will give a little bit of props to the Supreme Court. I think lately they've shown a little bit of spine. I mean, we know what they did in the Speaker saga. They were very, very upfront. Justice Sayene, I know she was on her way out, but she wasn't having it, and she said what she said. Funadi Kova is a legally elected Speaker of the House of Representatives. If you're going to remove him, you got to follow the process. She affirmed that, And now we saw the Honorable Musa Hassan Belete and Shrimex and the LPRC were in court. The courts have also decided that the prohibition that was being sought by Shrimex should be upheld. You cannot be going to arbitration, and the other side is already raiding your facilities, stealing your stuff and selling your stuff, acting like they own it, And MSUA is in the press recently, some millions of dollars he can't account for. Is he a manager to manage someone's private business? Nothing against the tour, but a private business is a private business, not a government business. You shouldn't be going around seizing poor businesses, and this is why we're talking why people are not coming to Liberia to do business. They have no trust in the legal system. So the last caller has a point. The government should not be in the business of execution. The government is a monitor and supervisor. You go and monitor performance. Give the contracts to private entities, and you'll be shocked. That caller is right. If this government had put out a bid instead of bringing in these 285 yellow machines, I'm sure they would have gotten a better price and a better deal for this whole yellow machine saga. They're not supposed to be in the business of bringing yellow machine and owning yellow machine, maintaining yellow machine, and teaching people, training people to drive yellow machine. The government shouldn't be in that. They should not. But thank you very much for the show. I know we've been here over 2 hours. You're getting tired. I'm enjoying myself, but I know you have to go.
Your time, man. What time now? The season we're getting tired. Thank you, Mr. Name. Yeah, we'll see again. We'll see Friday, but okay. Again, thank you. Thanks for the show. Yeah, thanks for the time and thanks for everything. It's been a wonderful time. Let's say thanks to our viewers and our audience out there that follow us. We'll do this again on Friday. We are here on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday with this introduction for you. Again, thanks to Ansu, thanks to Henry. Let's hope on Friday we'll have a full house. We discuss all of the trending issues as they unfold. And on behalf of the rest of our team members, I'd like to wish you a wonderful night. My name is Smith Tobe. God bless you. And Ansu, you can close from your end.
CMC. CMC. For the people, by the people, and to the people. Citizens movement for change. Oh yes, a new day has come. Yes, a new day has come. Rise up, Liberia. CMC for the people. CMC by the people. Let us join our hands together to build a better life. CMC, CMC for the people. CMC by the people. Let us join our hands together to build a better life. Equity, national unity, transparency, accountability, social justice, integrity. CMC core values. CMC Global. It is a new day for Liberia. It is a new day for the people. Let's hold together. Let's hold together. Peace and unity. Raise up your hands. CMC. The land of liberty, the land of freedom, the love of liberty brought us together. Let's hold together in peace and unity to build a better Liberia. CMC, CMC for the people. CMC, yes, by the people. Let's hold together in peace and unity to build a better life.